Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Geek-Minded Fools. My name's Graham.
And I'm Scott.
We'll kick off as usual with a visit to the monkey farm.
Hey, partners, it's time to see what Scott's doing down on his monkey farm.
Welcome once again, sir, to the monkey farm.
Always love being here. Happy
You're always
to be
welcome, but just keep your hands to yourself.
I'll try to.
Yes, please do. So this week, sir, I've got a little bit of dour news. I've got some news of hope.
Huh?
And I've got some news I think that's going to please you. It does involve, once again, a man crush. So,
okay.
I'm really having doubts about my sexuality of late.
It's definitely a recurring theme.
I'm even looking at you each time we record now and just thinking, is there any way I can get him to leave his wife? I even did one of these little tests on Facebook where it says who you should move in with, and it was you. It genuinely was you. But I digress. Alien Isolation. We liked Alien Isolation.
I loved Alien Isolation.
I loved it. I've kind of got to love it by proxy because I worked on it.
Hang on, is this the bad news?
Yeah, I'm afraid
Don't tell me they're not going to do a sequel.
Well, they're not. It doesn't look like.
No.
Well, it appears. I mean, this is all up in the air at the moment. But it would appear that Sega were not overly happy with the 2.1 million sales that particular title garnered, because they look like they are going to be concentrating now on PC titles and mobile titles. It looks like we're not going to get a sequel to this because they weren't very happy with the figures.
So
the 2.1 million copies that it sold, Graham.
So I had to tolerate one of the most disappointing endings to a video game in my recent memory for no good reason now.
It does look rather like that's going to be the case.
Unbelievable.
I mean, obviously, things do change very quickly in the gaming industry. This could be complete and utter misinformation that's being scattered out there by the publishers and people in the games industry in order to kind of, build up a little bit more momentum for a forthcoming...
to maybe have a fan outcry so they could see exactly how much people are wanting it.
So I think this is my chance to say, fans, outcry.
Outcry now. Begin outcry.
Begin outcry now. We do need a sequel to
Commence outcry.
Gladiators, outcry!
You will outcry on my first whistle.
Do you know what? Why have they never done an American Gladiators game? Or just a Gladiators game, for that matter. They need to make a sequel to this, I think, because I genuinely, and this is not just me saying this because I worked on it, I do think it was probably one of the most lovingly made titles
I loved it.
To encompass the Alien franchise. Sega have got the chance to do it, it's just whether or not they choose to do it now, I suppose.
Come on, Sega.
Creative Assembly.
Do what's right.
Yeah, indeed. Creative Assembly have brainstormed the sequel, so we'll just see what happens now. But hopefully,
maybe Higashimi Wakanata, or whoever that bloke was who did Silent Hill from last episode, maybe he'll now go and do it.
Maybe he will. Hideo Kojima,
there
you mean?
Go.
Okay.
That's the one.
Okay. Many apologies, Hideo. I will explain how to pronounce your name to Graham later. But I move on anyway. So let's go away from dour news. Let's move forward. Let's build the momentum and get some good news. Earlier on this year, it was announced that we were going to get a third season of Twin Peaks.
Yes,
which would be cool. I love Twin Peaks.
Who didn't love Twin Peaks?
Who didn't love it? I mean, it kind of
apart from people who weren't there when Twin Peaks was on.
And they just weren't there. They just didn't get it, did they?
Where's Annie? Where's Annie? Was not the ending we wanted.
No, definitely not. There was one film, was there? Firewalk with Me, which was equally as petrifying and confusing. Yeah,
which sort of told Laura Palmer's story.
That's right. Equally as confusing and scary as the show proper.
God, yes.
But yeah, we are going to get a third season, which has apparently had 9 episodes already pre-written for it. It's going to be a limited series on Showtime. Now, that's all well and good, but I mean, who's the main person that you're going to want involved in Twin Peaks? It's going to be David Lynch, isn't it? Yeah. So in March, David Lynch kind of said, I'm expressing a few doubts now about this. I think it's going to be a bit too complicated. In April... That's it. He said he wasn't coming back. He's not going to do it. It's all right though, Graham.
Go on.
He's coming back.
Yes!
He's coming back to direct. Hopefully all 9 episodes. That'd be great if he does do that. I know more and more.
And then make Alien Isolation.
Maybe he can do that in between. But I know more and more with TV shows in this day and age, you get guest directors in, don't you, for certain episodes and things like that. So that'd be quite nice to see something like that happen as well. But really, I want David Lynch to direct all of them, please. Carl McLachlan's back.
Yes. We couldn't have it without him.
Cheryl Lee's back. I mean, Carl McLachlan's still making up for Showgirls, I think. I mean, he's going to have to go a long way.
Do you know what? I've really enjoyed him in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's been very good.
Has he? Again, this is the show that I've not kept up with. Yes. I really need to keep up with
Mr.
these
Hyde,
shows.
Sky's father. Very good.
Okay. Well, let's again wait and see what happens with that one. But yeah, it's nice
Heather
to have
Graham?
a lot of the original cast. What, in...
Heather Graham coming back?
Not too sure if she's returning, but...
Okay.
But is it Heather Graham?
Yeah.
Heather Graham?
Heather Graham was Annie.
Oh, she wasn't she?
She was.
She is.
Yeah.
My goodness. Silence as I've learned something.
I really learned something today.
I really learned something, yeah. So yeah, David Lynch coming back to direct Twin Peaks Season 3. Come on, David. Do us proud.
Absolutely. Love it.
And finally, Man Crush News.
We do need a Man Crush jingle, don't we?
We do. I'd love a Man Crush jingle. If there are any ladies listen, I really am not that way inclined. Unless, of course, that's what you're into. In that case, then I am massively that way inclined.
Okay, let's move on.
All right, Chris Pratt has come out and basically... He's not come out.
You're close.
I am close, yeah. Chris Pratt has basically now stated during an interview he's done recently that he has not ever at one stage been approached to play Indiana Jones.
Yes!
So you're all right.
Yes!
He also has said that the rumours regarding him going into the next Ghostbusters movie, which is apparently going to be either produced or directed by Channing Tatum, are absolute poppycock. This is not going to happen. I suppose Chris Pratt rubbing shoulders with Steven Spielberg during the filming of Jurassic World, that would have been the time for that sort of thing to happen, wouldn't it? But no, it didn't.
Good.
So, India's still safe. Okay.
India's safe. Ghostbusters
safe-ish.
Will be going on without Chris. Chris Pratt has revealed that he does have a soul.
He does indeed, and I thought that would please you. That's why I've put this in. But, sir, with that in mind, as the role for Indy is still up...
You're going up for it, are you?
No, I'm just putting this out there. Again, just spitballing. No! I'm just thinking that, you know... There could be an in here for Billy Zane.
Billy fucking
Zane!
I tell you, he would do better if he changed his name to Billy fucking Zane.
He would do brilliant. I mean, in my eyes, he can do no wrong anyway.
You're absolutely insane.
But Billy Zane, you know, for Indy, I can see it. I mean, he'd look good in the hat. He'd look good with the whip. What do you think?
Well, you know how my feelings are about another indie film with a new actor.
And it needs to be, obviously, you know...
a reboot.
It needs to be a great actor as well. It needs to be someone
but, and I hate the idea unless it were Billy Zane.
Well,
in which case I would really hate the idea.
I'm let down that you feel that way. I am. But, you know, Billy, if you are listening, not crying yourself to sleep at the back of a wardrobe or something, I'm there for you, man. I'm trying to get you work. I'm trying. So, you know, vote Billy.
Go Billy.
Go Billy. That's the Monkey Farm this week, sir.
It was a short one, but boy, it was packed.
It was packed, wasn't it?
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Breathless is what that was.
Shall I go?
Yeah, out.
Right. Wow. Now we should move on to this. Now we should move on to this week's Quick Hits.
Quick Hits.
And I do believe, sir, in our usual backwards and forwards manner, that it's you to go first.
Our backwards and forwards motion. It's me first, is it?
Yes.
It's me first, okay.
Our Quick Hits tennis.
I am going to do something that I don't normally do and have never done. So this is a little bit of a curveball I'm throwing you here.
Ouch, okay.
For my Quick Hit this week, I am picking one specific episode from a current season of a TV show.
Interesting.
Now, I'm not sure if you've ever seen this TV show, but I would very much hope that a lot of our listeners have. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay, no, never seen it.
Never seen it? I was quite a late adopter to the show, I must admit. I mean, it started back in 2005, and I think I only got on board at the very most about a year ago. But much like Trailer Park Boys, which I've spoken about before, it hooked me straight away. And
binge-watched the shit out of it.
I watched the fuck out of it. I really did. Now, the most recent season has just gone on to Netflix. And as I say, this is a bit unprecedented, but I'm going to pick one specific episode because I did binge-watch the whole season in one evening. Because you can do it, because they're only quite short episodes. They're about 25 minutes, 22 to 25 minutes. Episode 4 of the current season of Always Sunny in Philadelphia is called Charlie Work. Charlie is one of the main characters of our protagonist, stroke antagonist, well, whatever you want to call them, they are both pretty much.
Can I just back you up a minute?
Can
you just tell me what's the premise of the show? I've heard of it, never seen it, so...
It's basically about 4 friends who have just got massive egos. They are extraordinarily arrogant, just disgusting, horrible, horrible simpletons. And they are the owners of
Hang on, isn't this How I Met Your Mother?
You've never met my mother. I wouldn't introduce her to you. They basically are the proprietors of a bar in Philadelphia, which is an Irish-themed bar called Paddy's Pub. Also, as well in there, you've got a 5th member, but he doesn't your 5th member doesn't appear till season 2, but it's played brilliantly by Danny DeVito.
Oh, okay.
And it's really lovely to see Danny DeVito do comedy.
Are there any other names in it, or is it all unknowns?
It's all pretty much unknowns. There's a couple of people who show up here and there who more American audiences would recognise as little in jokes. But I mean, it really is the main 3 guys and the girl who carry it. It's written as well and created by 2 of the guys who act in the show. But I digress slightly because this is more not about the series itself, but about how good this episode was. I just wanted
to get some
background. Indeed. What they've done with this episode is they've kind of homaged Birdman with the... I don't know if you've seen Birdman.
I haven't yet, no.
It is shot in what appears to be one continuous take, so a one-er, if you like, which obviously Scorsese's very famous for. True Detective used that filming technique to a brilliant degree in one of their episodes as well. Now, this is not a true one-er. There are a couple of little cuts there.
Yeah.
But I think, bar none, I don't think I've ever seen anything that's so technically proficient, so brilliantly written, and so just jaw-droppingly funny. So, without reviewing it too much, this is just a plea to people to go out, even if you're not a fan of It's Always Sunny, and even if you've never seen any of them, just jump straight in with episode 4 of the current season. It's not going to ruin anything for for past episodes or for future episodes, but go and see how brilliantly.
But you can still enjoy it without having seen it.
You can still enjoy it without having seen it.
Could you also enjoy it without having seen Birdman?
Yes, you could. You could indeed. It is just so brilliantly written, as I say, and so brilliantly performed. It's rare in this day and age where I watch a comedy TV show or a comedy sitcom that I actually laugh out loud.
Yeah.
But this just had me in stitches for a good 20 minutes. It is so funny. And it has got one of the most brilliant payoffs that I've ever seen set up in such a short space of time. You need to see it to believe it. It is that good. So please, guys, go and watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Once you've watched episode 4 of the current season, go back and watch all the others because I promise you, it is not a waste of time. If you thought I was being passionate about Trailer Park Boys, you ain't seen nothing. This is the show. It is just so beautifully funny. So enjoy It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Cool. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
My quick hit this week is a documentary. We both love a documentary.
We do.
This one is a film that was directed by 2 guys, Henry Joost and Ariel Schulman.
I think I know what this is.
It's called Catfish.
Yes.
Now, Catfish, I feel its legacy has kind of been ruined somewhat by the fact it got turned into an MTV programme of the same name, which sort of goes along the same lines. But as a documentary, I would say that this is creepily brilliant viewing.
It's a very, very petrifying peek into how technology can fool people.
Absolutely. How social media can put the blindfold on people.
Yeah.
It follows Ariel Schulman's brother, Neve, who was a photographer, and therefore, in order to advertise his work, used to put pictures up on Facebook. And then what he got was sent from I believe he's an 8-year-old girl called Abby, who was supposedly this brilliant artist, sent him a painting of one of his photographs, which he was instantly impressed with. And he started communicating with Abby's mother. And through this, started communicating with Abby's sister, who was called Megan. And they basically developed an online relationship, a romantic relationship.
Very much that, though, wasn't it? It was a romantic relationship.
Absolutely.
It wasn't kind of what people call sexting. It wasn't anything like that. It was quite sweet, wasn't it?
They were just chatting because they were talking about what a great artist at the age of 8 Abby was, and he just became close with a family, and then a relationship developed with Megan that was obviously something more. As I say, he would message her, he would message the mother, Angela, and Megan would send him songs that she'd written for him. He was pretty much falling head over heels with this girl until they started to do some investigation. Now, they found out that the songs were actually songs that had been taken from YouTube and hadn't been written by Megan at all. And they started to do some investigation, which basically ended with them deciding to pay a visit to the family. Now, the trailer is unusual because it almost makes out it's going to be some horrific thing. They sort of turn up at this farmhouse.
It's very Blair Witch, I think.
It is very Blair Witch, yeah. They turn up at this sort of farmhouse in the middle of nowhere, and it sort of teases up it's going to be the most horrific thing ever. But what it really is a very sad tale about how it's easy to pretend to be someone you're not on the internet, and how one lie can snowball into something that takes over your whole life. I won't ruin the ending, obviously, but one thing I will say is that the word catfish comes from a conversation that's had with one of the people towards the end of the documentary, who comes up with something almost poetic in describing the situation that they found themselves in. A very unlikely source for this sort of quote. And of course the word catfish has become something that I think is now in the dictionary and is both a noun and a verb. You can be a catfish, which is somebody who fools somebody online into thinking you're someone that you're not, or you can be catfished.
Yeah.
And so it is simply due to this documentary, it is something that has entered the English language. A lot of people have said that they think this is fake, because they question why this was being filmed as it went along by Neve's brother and his friend, and that a lot of these setups toward the end do seem very staged. Whereas, personally, I don't buy that. I think they were probably looking for an idea to try and do something and just started filming the brother and thought, oh, this is quite interesting. And then the thing took a weird twist that they never anticipated. And I just think it's a great documentary. It's compelling viewing. It's equal parts sad and scary.
Oh, it's definitely scary.
Yes, but very sad as well. You know, when you actually do scratch beneath the surface and look at this woman's life, you can almost understand, if not empathise, with what she's done and why she's doing it.
Well, you can massively understand why she's done it.
Yeah.
You can. I mean, you touched very, very, very briefly on the TV show. And to anyone who's actually seen the TV show but hasn't seen the documentary, I implore you to go back and watch the documentary.
Absolutely.
Because the TV show is, I don't mind saying, I think it's trash, to be honest.
Well,
it just hasn't got the same impact because you always know that it's going to be a lie at the end of it.
Well, of course, sometimes they throw you a curveball and it isn't a lie. And that's kind of what people are waiting for. But what it is obviously the film is about Neve being catfished. Whereas what's happened in the TV show is that he's become the catfish investigator. So people write to him and say, I think I'm being catfished. Can you help me find out whether I am or not? But the problem is that probably the first season was the only one that was true because people didn't expect it. Was now people know that this guy's out there doing it. People are actually almost making up catfishing and using the scenario to try and
get their 15 minutes.
Absolutely, to get themselves on TV. As a documentary, I would say it's compelling viewing, very entertaining. As I say, it goes all manner of batshit weird at the end. But yeah, give it a go. Catfish.
And I can assure you, we are not catfishing any of you out there. We are real.
Maybe a little bit. Okay, now we should move on to this week's main topic.
When they got the ball, you know they won't drop it. The Geek-Minded fools discuss the main topic.
Right, Scott.
Yes, Graham. Oh, we're here.
We are here. Two things we are very much fans of.
Are we allowed to speak about those?
Movies.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And in particular, 80s movies.
Yes, you're right.
And
you know me so well.
Indeed. And a film that came out very recently was a sequel to the Mad Max movies.
Yeah.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
Directed by George Miller, of course.
Of Happy Feet fame. And Babe as well, which always impresses me. How you can go from Mad Max to Babe.
But now starring Tom Hardy, taking over the role of Max.
Mad Max Rockatansky. I imagine Mel Gibson was probably a little bit too racist to take on the role now.
Probably.
I don't know. It's only what I've read.
So anyway, we've obviously both seen the film. We went to see it separately.
We did.
As is our want. And
yes.
we just wanted to have a discussion about it and have a chat.
We don't need another hero. We don't need to know the way home. All we want is what we
first off the bat, sir, let's just say, did you like it?
I did like it, but I didn't love it. I certainly didn't love it.
Okay.
I mean, I'll admit, halfway through the film, I was thinking, oh, God, I'm fucking hating this. Really didn't like it. But I thought the second half redeemed itself somewhat. It picked up a bit more and became a bit more interesting. If I would say I had one problem with it, and you could probably say, but Graham, you're going to see a Mad Max film, what the hell are you expecting? It was very light on plot. Obviously heavy on the action, heavy on the stunts, which you expect from this sort of thing. But, I mean, my favourite of the previous 3 Mad Max films was 2.
I always had you down as a Thunderdome kind of guy.
That became a bit cheesy and a bit over the top.
Raggedy Man.
Yes, quite. All of them before have had a plot. It's had lots going on to drive the narrative forward.
Albeit very loose plot.
Yes, but still a cohesive plot to say this is why this is happening. This film starts off and very quickly becomes a chase film.
Yeah.
Chasing people from A to B.
It does.
And once they reach B, they decide that they're going to go back to A, and they get chased all the way back to A again. And other than that, there's not a lot going on.
I loved it.
Oh, I know you did.
I loved it so much. I think you can no more you can no more judge this for having lack of story than you could say go to a Chekhov play and bemoan it for lack of action, because it is just it's an all-out action movie, isn't it?
I get that. But, as I've stated before, I am much more a plot person.
Indeed.
I love a good story. I love good characterisation, which is probably why I don't like martial arts movies and fights movies. Yeah. If it's just people beating the shit out of each other...
Then you can play Kung Fu Master on the Commodore 64.
I don't give a monkey's about it. Yeah. Show me characterisation, show me a good plot. Like I say, the second half redeemed itself because I felt you actually started to care for the characters. The characters sort of started to be a bit fleshed out. But up until the halfway point, and literally the halfway point, I felt that you weren't getting a feel for who they were, what they were doing, what their motivations were, and therefore, why would you care about them?
See, do you think maybe George Miller, when he... obviously, you know, this has been in the offings for many years. It was sat in development hell for quite a while, and, you know, at one point it was never going to get made, and then it came back, and Gibson was going to be in it, and, you know, lots of different things happened in order to hold up the production of this film. Do you think George Miller kind of got to a point when he was writing it where he said in his own mind, this film is going to be loved by fans of the originals, therefore I don't have to explain that much. I just have to put these characters on screen.
No, but surely if you're just doing more of the same, are you not going a bit route one? Do you not actually want to maybe bring something a little bit different in order to say this has moved on and we're going to do more and we're going to do it better and, you know, we're going to step it up a bit? And maybe I expected a bit more than that. Maybe I thought, moving on 30 years from what's gone before, we were going to get a little bit more. And yes, I would say that the stunts were that much better, but...
See, I felt he kind of did do that with the inclusion of, I'm probably going to pronounce this incorrectly, but Imperator Furiosa. Mm-hmm. It was very much her film, wasn't it? So this is
Charlize Theron.
Yeah, Charlize Theron. It was very much her film. It was the Imperator Furiosa show, wasn't it? So maybe him introducing this strong female lead was enough of a change up to put Max slightly in the background. Also, you know, there's certain
which again was a thing that I thought was odd. Because he hardly said 2 words. He wasn't in it for great sways. No. He wasn't the one that drove the narrative.
He was almost a bit player.
He was metaphorically and literally a passenger for an awful lot of the film.
Yeah, no, he was. But again, I think Miller probably did this again because he's aiming towards, you know, not just bringing in new fans, but he's aiming more towards the old fans. And we all know Max, and we know what he's like. And I did feel there were moments in this film where he elicited behaviour that we've not seen before. And also, you know, the way Miller addressed certain things that Max would have to do were handled slightly differently. For instance, by the way, guys, there are going to be some spoilers in this. So, you know, apologies ahead of time, but it's too good not to talk about. In particular, the moment when it's about halfway, maybe 3/4 of the way through the film, I believe, when the bullet farmer, who's the guy with the bullets in like the judge's wig, he's coming towards them, and Imperator takes him out, doesn't she? She blinds him with the sniper rifle.
Yes.
And then Max has to go off and kind of dispatch them.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that you don't see it. I love the fact it's just like, where's he going? And he comes back and he is literally just covered in blood. And I think that's brilliant, because we all know now that Mad Max, or Max Rokitansky, is this... You know, he's a survivalist, really, isn't he? He's going to do anything to survive. And I love the fact that he went out there and took out a whole carload of people and just came back and was washing himself with the mother's milk at the end, which was absolutely brilliant. And previously, in all the other films, we've seen him dealing out justice, or you know, we've seen him winning the fight in the Thunderdome with the whistle, which is just completely brilliantly bizarre. But I liked that there was a little bit more implication on, you know, what you don't see is more interesting kind of thing in this.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a cinematic stable, is it?
Yeah.
Whereby when you don't show somebody something, your imagination of it is always going to be a million times better than what they could ever possibly show you. So, yeah.
I mean, it was always going to be difficult, wasn't it, coming back to this franchise, if you like, 30 years after the fact. It was going to be a hard slog to make them live up to. I mean, for me, Mad Max 2 is my favourite, and that was the one that it was going against. I don't think it beat it by any stretch of the imagination, because Mad Max 2 has just got something that's so amazingly charming about it being, you know, the tail end of the exploitation movies. The language used in it is brilliant. The look of it is brilliant. But then again, switching back over to Fury Road, you know, all the shoots that they did over in Namibia, God, that place looks desperate, doesn't it? It looks just desolate. And
Barren, yeah.
It's the place that life went to and then just went, I give up. And you really get that from looking at these guys out there, and you can... But for me, it's a film that definitely gets better the more you see it. Well, I've now seen it 3 times.
Yeah, because the first time, we both saw it the same day.
Yeah, and normally we wouldn't do this, would we? We wouldn't talk straight away about it, but I felt we had to.
Well, you wanted to.
I wanted to, yeah.
And then you were very much in line with me.
Yeah.
You know, when I was saying complete lack of plot, you were saying, yeah, I have to say I agree. But as I said to you subsequently, I think far more than me, this is a film that you wanted to love.
Oh yeah, and you're 100% right.
I just wanted to watch it and see what I thought. Yeah. You wanted to love it, so therefore you went to see it, I saw it, we then discussed it, and then you immediately went online and watched it again because you wanted to fall in love with it a bit more.
Yeah, very much
and
so.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's a film, again, that I thought worked very well with the 3D.
Now, see, I didn't see it in 3D.
Did you not?
Interesting enough. No.
I thought it worked really well.
I
with
didn't think
3D.
you liked 3D. I'm very surprised you went to see it in 3D.
I didn't until we saw Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron really sold 3D to me. But I think it's got to be done well, and I think that what's on screen has got to literally come off the screen, as it were. It's got to be interesting use of 3D, and I thought he did it really well in this. But, I mean, just going back to the whole look of the film, I had to just do a little swallow there and go, because I'm
so excited,
because I do get excited about it. It was so lovely to see all those amazingly put together vehicles, and it really did give me the feeling of Mad Max 2. It really did, with Immortan Joe played by Hugh Keays-Byrne, reminded me massively of Humongous from Part 2. Obviously, you had I think his name's Nathan Jones or Nathan Lane, who's playing Rictus Erectus, who's kind of the big heavy set guy, one of his sons. He was very much like Wes from the second movie, you know, the Mohawk guy who's in a lot of movies. So, you know, the staple characters were there, but the standout was Nicholas Hoult. I just thought blew me away. I just thought he was absolutely amazing. What a great little actor that kid is.
Absolutely.
He's a
was
real
good,
chameleon.
and again, what I liked was that as the film went through, he went from being a very one-dimensional character. You know, all these sort of war boys were very much of the same ilk.
Incidentally, upsetting to see Duran Duran not involved. I thought they would have got on board. They would have just, tried at least.
But as it went on, his character did become far more fleshed out, and in a way, his sort of character turn, I almost at first didn't buy. But then, as it went along, you kind of thought, "Oh yeah, okay, I can see this."
Yeah, it was brilliant to see a character learning.
Yes, absolutely.
Because obviously, all he ever knew was, being trapped in those mines, or what we're going to call the catacomb areas at the Citadel.
Yes.
Just constantly having to transfuse blood from people that they're finding on the wastelands. So he really,
went
really,
on a journey,
yeah,
which was good to see.
And as much as it was in Charlize Theron's film, I think it was Nicholas Hoult as Nux, his film as well, because as you say, he did take that journey, and I thought it was a believable journey.
Eventually, I thought, yes.
Yeah, I was on board with him very much so, and love all the stuff. Just love all the stuff with the ideology behind the War Boys. Immortan Joe has basically brainwashed all these kids into worshipping at the altar of the V8, and they do that amazing salute by the crossed fingers and chroming themselves or putting the shine on, as they call it, which blew me away. And after now reading a little bit further and after learning where Miller got that idea from, it just makes it even more beautiful to know how he crafts his stories.
What was that?
It's based on... he saw a documentary years ago about Cambodian soldiers. And apparently before Cambodian soldiers go into war, they place in their mouths a small little effigy of Buddha. And they have it hanging out in their mouths, so when they are fighting, you can see it. And he's based it on that, basically. But yeah, in Fury Road, it's referred to as the shine. So they spray the chrome across their teeth, I suppose, to look like the front of a car, I would assume, because they are all very car-orientated, aren't they? For me, I wish I'd have had a chance to write a tagline for the poster, because my tagline would have been a full-on vehicular assault on the senses, because it is that. It is much like we said about the monkey farm in this episode. It's breathless. It's so quick. It's so brilliantly fast-paced. You don't really have a chance to get bored. It has a little lull.
There was a few lulls along the way.
Yeah.
But certainly, with the chases, that is, just 100% full on, without a doubt.
Was there anything in it for you that really, really did stand out? Because I know you're sitting here and you're saying to me that you're not the hugest of fans. You just wanted to see it to discuss it with me. But as someone who just sort of thought it was so-so, was there anything that really did jump out and you went, God, that's something I've not seen before?
I thought it was so-so. As I say, I thought it was good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for me because I just like a little bit more out of a film than that. Yes, I love action films, but this was just action and I thought it was too light on plot. But standout moments, nothing honestly springs to mind. I would have to say that there were some very good set pieces, there were some really good bits, there were some bits that I didn't buy, but you also have to have a certain...
Well, that's interesting to me. What bits didn't you buy? What bits did you think were just too ridiculous to...
Not necessarily ridiculous, but what I was going to say was that in this sort of film you need to suspend disbelief.
Yeah.
But I felt that even within that, some of it was just a bit too stylised. Like, for example, the bit at the beginning when Max is captured and then he breaks out within the
citadel,
the fortress or whatever it is, and starts running away and starts climbing up, and all the war boys are coming after him, and he's sort of climbing up to this grate, and they pull him down, and he's in the water with literally about 20 war boys. And about 3 seconds later, he's away from them all, and it's like that many people.
Max.
Yeah, but you just have to say, why put him in that situation when you know that in any kind of reality, nobody's going to be able to get out of that. And and it's just moments like that that just pull me away from a film. And I know that there are a lot of people out there who love that, and they love martial arts films where one guy can take out 20. People love that. Whereas that pulls me away from the film because I'm immediately going... And I know you could say, but Graham, you invest in a film where a man can fly or a man can swing on webs. Yeah. But that I can buy into, and I can buy into this dystopian future. But
if the odds seem so insurmountable.
Precisely, but were Spider-Man to fall into something with 20 supervillains in it, and then 3 seconds later he's back out having escaped them all, you immediately get removed from it.
You're taken out of it,
And that's the kind of thing that I feel when I watch these kind of films. And even the opening shot annoyed me when you've got the little lizard or gecko thing, and it comes up near the camera, and it goes down, and he just picks it up and eats it. And I just thought immediately, do you know what? I didn't like that, and that made me start off on the wrong foot with the film. Things like that annoy me.
I love that. I think when we spoke very briefly after we'd seen it, and obviously we both had a very different experience when we went to see it as well. You went to see it on your own.
Yeah.
I went to see it with my very lovely friend Jessica Wigley, who was probably one of the greatest people to go to the cinema with, because, as I said to you, it was nice to be in the cinema with someone, watching them react to something that I already felt was going to be a grand spectacle, but she was jumping at the right moments, and she was gasping, and that kind of made my experience even more fun. Mm-hmm. But one thing that we did pick up on when we spoke briefly afterwards was the fact that you're looking at this film and you're going, it's a bit Borderlands, isn't it? Or it's a bit Fallout, and then all of a sudden your brain kicks in. You go,
but this came first.
No, this came first.
That they were Mad Max rather than the other way around. But there was one when they were doing the chase. There was one particular sort of brand of nut job who looked exactly like the Psycho from Borderlands.
They did.
Had the mask type thing, had the two eye holes,
Yeah.
and I immediately thought, oh, Borderlands. Oh no, hang on, no. It's
I think he was one of the guys who launches himself onto the cars, wasn't he? Was he one of those
Yes.
guys with the pipe bombs?
With the double
pipe
things,
bomb
yes.
things, yeah.
But yeah, and another thing about it, and again, I'm not sure if I'm picking up on things like this because as I watched it...
Because you just want to trample my dreams?
Things were annoying me. But even thinking about it now, the bloke with the guitar, the guy playing the guitar on the bungee cords...
Maybe overused a little, but I did love it.
With the massive bank of amps behind him and sort of, was almost... like the call to hunt, with the horn, he was just
he was basically the
spewing fire out the end of his
army's musicians, weren't they? The drummers and which you do see in armies, don't you? So
precisely.
They're twisted version of
constantly
reality.
shown and constantly referred to, and to me it was just over egging the pudding, and it just became a real bugbear of mine as the film went on.
I just thought it was an amazing spectacle, a real good fun.
It was,
real good fun.
And I can't deny that. And I don't want to sound like the Grinch who's saying, "Oh, I hate this film," because I didn't hate it.
No.
And I can't stress that enough. I can honestly say that, particularly being a dad and therefore not having as much time as I used to, I'm far more selective about the films that I go to see at the cinema. And I'm very aware that now we do a podcast, I have to go and see a lot more films than I used to.
Yeah.
And this film, I would not have gone to see were we not podcasting. I'd have waited till it was out on Blu-ray and I'd have hid it from Love Film or streamed it online or something. I would not have gone to the cinema to see this because the idea of it didn't grab me the way that a lot of films needed to. But I went to see it because I knew we needed to talk about it. But I enjoyed it. It is what it is, but it isn't my film for that reason that I am not the target audience for this sort of film.
No, very much one for me, I think, this one. I think, all in all, Miller was massively respectful to his own original source material. The look is all still there.
Absolutely.
The language has carried over. In parts that we've spoken about, like the higher land just over there, past that thing.
Yes.
What thing? I think he's talking about the tree.
Exactly. He'd never seen a tree.
And I love that. I think that's brilliant to kind of have this conceit that the world is. I mean, this is supposed to be set 45 years after the world kind of collapsed. So we're led to believe now that all these people know are kind of cars and old stories from postcards and things like that. Right at the top of this, we did kind of say, that it's Imperator Furiosa's film. There's not much Max in it. But the more I've thought about this...
But again, her motivation was never really explained. And you were saying that is it something to do with an animated short or something?
There was
that actually explains her backstory.
There was,
which I'd have liked to know more of. How she got to rise so high up in the ranks and be so trusted.
That's what I want to know.
And yet... eventually turn her back on that and actually, want to do something for again, spoilers, I don't want to sort of give too much away, but I want to know how she got to where she was, but then what justified her actions to turn her back on it, and that wasn't touched on enough. And again, it's just explaining characters' motivations, and I felt that was lacking, and so, you never really knew what was happening, but never really understood fully why.
I think for me, obviously being a huge Uber Mad Max fan, the ongoing theme in all the films is kind of home and, trying to find a home, getting somewhere to call home, being somewhere that's safe, home. Mm-hmm. And I think that was very much kind of her goal in this as well. She wanted to get these women out, the five wives, get them somewhere safe, to create life, to bring life into the world in a better way. That could obviously not have been done in the Citadel. For me, does it stand up next to the old ones as well?
But then you could say, was that her motivation when she first arrived, and therefore her climb up the ranks? Was that entirely fake, or was there something that happened while she was climbing the ranks that made her believe it? That was something.
So was this her plan all along?
Absolutely. Yeah. Or did something happen? Was there a moment that made her think, right? Yeah. I need to walk away from this, and I need to take these people, and I need to start something new.
I'm not sure if we're ever going to get the animated prequel, if you like, to Fury Road now, but it would be interesting. I mean, maybe it's something. Well, there is actually the comic is coming soon, isn't it? So I mean, maybe this is going to touch on some of it as well.
One thing that I did want to ask you was when we spoke about it first, after we both seen it, you did mention your disappointment with the fact that obviously something that's very iconic about Max is the car. And within 3 minutes of the film starting, the car had gone. And you were disappointed about that.
I was very disappointed about that because the Interceptor, I think, is as much a character in the films as Max is. And it was quite upsetting to see it totaled pretty much, as you say, in the first three or 4 minutes. You do get glimpses of it later on, but I think it is ultimately it's completely destroyed towards the end of the film, and that bugs me a little bit.
Another thing that bugged me a little bit was, where's the film set?
Well, it's supposedly it's set in Australia, post-apocalyptic Australia, but obviously shot in Namibia,
and all of the characters are therefore Australian.
Yeah.
So can we explain Tom Hardy's South African accent?
No, I can't explain it. I can't. Well, all right, I'm going to have a go at explaining it. Okay. Do you know what it's like when you've sat at home all weekend and you've spoken to no one, and then the first time you speak to someone, your voice kind of in your own head sounds a bit funny. I'm really, really trying here for you, Tom. I'm trying to back you up, buddy. He was great, though. I mean, he was great in it. He does do, the gruff action hero.
It was a
very
understated performance, an understated action role, if such a thing can exist.
And I think the first time since maybe the original Mad Max that you've seen almost not sweet, but kind of a caring, softer side to him, which is the moment later. Again, guys, sorry, spoilers, but during the last segment of the film where he has to transfuse to Furiosa, and he obviously then finally gives her his name, which I think is a really, really strong moment in the film. I think it's a really, really beautifully shot moment, and the sentiment behind it's really nice.
Yeah, and as I say, the second half and sort of what led up to the ending, I thought it saved the film.
One thing, as always, with George Miller films, he gives these characters such amazing names, but half of them you never get to learn. Obviously we knew Nux, Nicholas Hoult, we know Imperator Furiosa, and we know Max, Immortan Joe as well, and Rictus Erectus. You get to hear their names, but I just want to point out the names of the wives because I think they're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. You had Rosie Huntington-Whiteley as the splendid Angarad, Riley Keough, just known as Capable. Zoe Kravitz was Toast the Knowing, and Abby Lee as the Dag. Oh, there's one more as well.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, you had Courtney Eaton as Cheedo the Fragile. I just think how much time he must spend coming up with these brilliant names, because they don't sound like they're just plucked out of a hat to me. They sound like they've been thought about. Also, as well, we mentioned the Bullet Farmer earlier, who Furiosa takes out with a sniper rifle. But did you notice...
She blinds him.
She blinds him, sorry, yeah. My apologies, she does blind him.
Max then takes him out.
He does indeed, yeah, to brilliant effect. But the other guy, who I'm going to assume were Immortan Joe's brothers, I think, the Bullet Farmer and the other guy. The other guy was called the People Eater.
Right.
And he was, for my money, fucking petrifying. That metal thing on his nose, I don't know what it was about that metal thing on his nose, but that really, really got to me.
I don't think it was a metal thing on his nose. I think he clearly lost his nose. He had a metal nose.
A replacement metal nose, okay. But he had the
big chunky foot.
Chunky gout foot.
Yes.
Which obviously is a plot point later on. You see that get used again to great effect. But I just love the world that George Miller created with the original Mad Max films, and he didn't really let me down here at all. It is a film that holds up well on repeat viewing, and as per usual, every episode seems to be becoming a bit of a habit that we mention Mark. Oh, he bores me. I do love Mark, I do. Mark went to see this for his birthday, and you know what? I've not seen Mark grin so much in quite a while when we've spoken about a film. Mark's quite hard to please, I think, sometimes with films, but this one seems to have really, really, got to him. He was very excited after he'd seen it. So
I would disagree with that. I would say the fact that he liked Only God Forgives, I would say Mark is incredibly easy to please.
Maybe that is the case.
Yes.
Maybe that is the case.
Sorry, Mark.
Only cod
Love
and chips. Yeah, actually, Mark, I've changed my mind now. I don't care if you like Mad Max Fury Road. Oh, happy birthday, by the way, Mark. There you go. Belated happy birthday to you, sir. I hope there's more of them. I don't think we're going to get more with Charlize Theron, because she has, in an interview, stated that she wasn't overly happy on set. She would turn up on set. Sometimes people wouldn't know their lines. Sometimes people wouldn't even know what scenes they were filming that day. But when there's been reports of Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron coming to blows on the set, they spent like 6 months in Namibia, in this burning hot desert. It's not somewhere that they can just go, okay, well, that film's in the can. That scene's in the can. Let's just pop to the pool. Looked like a tough shoot, and a lot of it was obviously practical effects there. The real stunts. I did read one review which came out a day after the release, where I won't name this guy because I don't want to give him any free advertisement. But he basically said that it was a 2-hour snore fest, which was basically all unconvincing CGI. Now, there wasn't that much CGI in it.
I don't remember any CGI.
But the sandstorm, that's about it.
Yeah, but in terms of the real action, it all looked like real effects.
It looked brilliantly done, didn't it? It looked brilliantly done. So I do hope we get another one, and I hope they keep Tom Hardy on board, because I think he's got the potential to be a really, really good Mad Max. I think he was probably right, George Miller, to keep the character as understated as he did in this first fresh outing. And I'd like to actually see more of Furiosa, even though I don't think she's going to come back. But it'd be nice to learn more about her backstory, wouldn't it? So let's see what the comic brings us.
So, Mike's out of 10.
I place high regard for this film. I think it's maybe not deserving of the press that it's getting, saying that it's a cinematic masterpiece, but as an action movie masterpiece, I think it is. So I'd put it up there in the high 7s, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I couldn't go any. I can't really mark it any higher, purely for the fact that there wasn't enough Max in it.
The way you've spoken about it, I'm surprised you've given it a score as low as 7. I'd have thought the way that you've gushed about it, you'd have given it at least an 8.
It would have got an 8.5 for me if there'd have been
8.5.
It would have got an 8. 8
You're holding up 2 cards then.
Like that. Good. Max! It would have got a higher score had there been more Max in it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I think that harmed it.
Okay.
But for me as a fan, I went to see Max, and I got Furiosa. Wasn't bad, but wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah.
But, a great film. A great film.
Me, I would give it 6 out of 10. That's a good 6. It was good, it was better than average, but it wasn't right up there with the sort of films that I love. But as I say, I was never going to be the target audience. So, yeah.
Indeed you will.
I guess all I can say is, that'll do, Max.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Right, you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Excellent. So, that's all for this week's episode of Geek-Minded Fools. So, for myself, Graham.
And myself, Scott.
Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
We don't need another hero. All we want is like the young underdog.
But he's just a raggedy man.